Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another fantastic episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. My name is Bernadette Desir, and I'm your host. And joining me today is fellow Canadian, Cathy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How do I pronounce your last name?
Gagliardi. I pronounce it just how it's spelled, Gagliardi.
Gagliardi.
Mhm.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yes.
Where in Canada are you?
I'm between Toronto and Niagara Falls, just a little country
Mm,
town where I'm in the middle of a forest.
yeah. Oh, that's so cool. That's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you said you were where I am in Calgary not long ago. How do you
Yeah,
like being on that side of the country?
I love it. I love everything about the West. I love the mountains, the
Mhm.
river, it's just and the air. It's fresher.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely different from where you are by Niagara Falls.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
okay. Yeah.
right now it's almost well 30 something. It's really, really hot.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like 100 or 30
Yeah,
something Celsius and
yeah.
humid, muggy. Yeah, it's hard to breathe
Ooh,
outside.
yeah, it's not so warm here. You need sweaters to be out. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
your air is
Kathy.
nice and fresh.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for
Uh,
having me.
yeah, you're welcome. To start, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
So I'm Cathy Gagliardi, and I'm author of children's books, and
Mm,
I have created a method called the Bellyflies Method as well.
mhm,
And that will be a eventually after I've done courses and training and mentoring, I will be doing a
mhm.
book on that as well for the
Oh, okay.
parents, for the for the
Oh, nice,
adults.
nice.
Mhm.
So how many books do you have that are for kids?
For kids, I have 7 books. 5 of them are in English and 2 are in Spanish. And I
Um,
have 2 anthologies, adult
mhm.
books. But
Oh, okay.
there's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. Did you always wanted to be an author for kids?
I I always wrote and I always wrote poems and stories, and
Mhm.
I never thought I would actually be an author until I wrote this book and my brother published it. He did the illustrations and he
Yeah.
published it and gave it to me for my birthday, and that just set
Oh,
me off.
oh wow, that's really cool. That's awesome.
Mhm.
What was your childhood like? Did you read a lot and went on
Oh, yes.
adventures?
Yes,
Okay.
I read a lot, and being out in the country, we were always having adventures. And my dad he was a sailor and he
Mhm.
owned a business, so he built boats. So we went a
Mm,
lot, did a lot of sailing and
yeah.
racing, always
Yeah.
hiking, and oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. When did you publish your first book and what was it about?
The first book, this is where I transform my pain to my passion, is
Mm,
it came from a really sad event. A friend of mine who we had just been talking about our children,
mhm.
her the next day, her child took his life, and her
Oh,
oldest child took his life. So that was like a shock, and I didn't know how to express myself or help her. And
mm,
it took me a while to focus. Like on that day, it was just a write-off. But
mhm,
that night I went downstairs and I just started writing because I couldn't do anything else. So I just thought, this is what I do. I put my
mhm,
feelings on paper and then it
mhm,
kind of lets me sleep. But this time I decided to do something where I could possibly help children learn tips and techniques to help their debilitating feelings, and maybe those tips will grow with them. And so
mhm,
when they're 18 or 40 or
mhm,
discovering some hard times, they will just
mhm,
automatically say, that the book is called Belly Flies, like butterflies in your tummy.
mhm,
They'll automatically say, you know what? I remember when I feel this way, I go for a run. I go for a walk. I go and help somebody make their life better.
mhm,
I speak to somebody. They have all these little repertoire of tips and techniques to
mhm,
go to and resolve their situation.
Mhm.
That's my dream. That's my hope that that's what will happen. And that was in 2014.
Oh, wow. Yeah, thank you
Mhm.
for sharing. I
Thank
don't
you.
know what it's like to lose a child that way, or at
No,
all. Yeah,
no.
I'm sorry your friend had to go through that, and
Yeah.
I'm
She's
lucky she had you. She must have been
uh
lucky and still lucky at the time that it happened and up to now to have you as a friend.
she's a huge supporter of my books and the Bellyflies Method. And
Mm,
she's hoping that that will make something so terrible turn into something beautiful, save a life.
mm. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Thank you for sharing. Can you walk me through the belly fly method? Take us and give me more details because I'm sensing there's more. It has to do with maybe anxiety.
Yes. So um, the Bellyflies Method is an acronym, and
Mm,
it's to help the communication. That's when a child has huge anxiety or has huge
mm,
feelings and they don't know what to do with them. They
mm.
could react in a negative way
Yeah.
or in a non-productive way, and
Mhm,
this will like in the book I use the words "I have belly flies."
mm.
So the child can just automatically say, I don't know what's wrong. I have belly flies.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that can work into a conversation and,
Mhm,
bring out the problem. Well, the belly flies method is on the other side is for the parents, and it's an acronym. So B is for belly flies, and that's to be open to the child's feelings
mhm,
and give the child the words
mhm.
to use and have discussions over them.
Yeah.
And then, do
Yeah.
you want me to do the acronym?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Mm,
E is for engage emotions.
mhm,
So um, you guide them with their emotions and identify their emotions and talk about this is this you're feeling like this with your eyes down like that. Tell me what that emotion feels like, or
yeah.
tell me where the
Mm,
belly flies are or how they look. And
mhm,
then L is for listen,
mhm,
and listen to what they're saying,
mhm.
not how they're acting,
Yeah.
because that is the key. Sometimes we say, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, and yell and scream. But
Mhm,
what is it about not wanting to do that? So
mhm.
we really have to
Yeah.
listen. And the next one, L, is love,
Mm,
which is huge. I'll tell you a little story.
yeah.
One time I went into this our huge office and I went around and the whole morning everything was negative and people were arguing and nothing was getting done and it was just an
Mhm,
awful, awful feeling. And I
mm,
went home at lunchtime and I thought, I wonder if I spread love throughout the building, if that would make a difference.
Yeah.
It's just an experiment. Only I knew. Doesn't matter
Mhm,
if it didn't work. I
yeah.
went to every corner of that building, every person, every office, spreading love.
Mhm.
Like in my mind, I'm just spreading it all out there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tell you, within a half an hour, things had changed around.
Mhm,
Things, people started working together and laughing, and I feel it's so important
mhm.
for well, children, but everybody to see your love.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if they see your love, then they will accept it and reciprocate it.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm,
Even though they know they love you, I think it's
mhm.
they have that feeling of safety and warmth within
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the why is yes and that's an improv technique
Mhm.
where you continue them speaking instead of saying yes, but that's elephant isn't usually green,
Yeah.
that's our yes and just continue them talking.
Mhm.
And then focus. I have an acronym for focus also,
Yeah.
and it's focus on calmness until settled. So when they're upset, they
Mhm,
can focus on the outside or a
mhm,
picture or their emotions, like do a little meditation,
mhm.
breathe, and just keep doing that until you feel like you've
Yeah.
settled. Then we can
Yeah.
speak. And
Yeah.
then L is lead, and that's would
Mhm.
be role playing
Yeah.
and showing them exactly what you want, so they're not frustrated in thinking
Mm.
that they don't understand what you want,
Yeah.
like, and breaking things down into little steps.
Mhm.
So my
Mhm.
son was like that. I would say, "Can you just clean the living room when I'm gone?" And I come back and he's like frustrated and doesn't know what I'm talking about. And if I
Mm.
say, "Can you vacuum, pick up the toys
Mhm.
and dust?" Three big things.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was singing, vacuuming, dusting, and singing because he knew exactly what to do.
Mhm.
And I is for imagination,
Mhm.
which is so important, I think, in all of our lives to have that imagination and sparks hope and excitement.
Mhm.
And remember that nothing is wrong with their story. It's all what their story is. And
Mhm.
if you listen to them, they'll keep talking. That's what I found. E is for
Yeah.
encourage
Mhm.
and to praise and reward them with their favorite thing. So
Mhm.
if they're having a tantrum and it's because they want to watch TV,
Mhm.
then you can say, how about you calm down? We fold some clothes, and if you do a good job, then we'll say you can watch TV. Or like
Mhm.
instead of just saying, no, you're not allowed to watch TV and making the TV the bad thing,
Yeah.
which,
Yeah.
comes in handy when you're trying to
Mm.
do
Yeah.
things, they like their shows.
Mhm.
And the last one is S for sensitive. So we have to be sensitive to the child themselves, what their capabilities are, how their emotions are that day, and sensitive to the fact that we're all so different. We may have the exact same situation happening, but we might both feel it separately, differently. So that's the whole acronym for Bellyflies method,
Oh,
for
wow. I
Bellyflies.
love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, those are all important key points that you tackle to help people,
Mhm.
especially parents and kids. Um, my question is, sometimes we parent as a wounded parent, and the
Right.
things that you talk about, a parent has never been taught those before. How can a wounded parent help their kids and raise them to be different than they were raised?
This Bellyflies method is also a trickle down effect. So when you are teaching, you actually learn yourself.
Mm, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I found with my book, this is odd that this story is coming up, but that when my first book was first published, I brought it to my grandmother who had Alzheimer's
Mm,
she was in a nursing home, and I read it to her.
yeah.
And she wanted me to read it over and over and over again. And
Mm,
she just loved it. And it made her feel really good. And I
mm,
think if you practice um, each one of these things, then it will help you to understand yourself as well.
mhm, mhm,
I know that if I had this method when I was raising my children, um, I would have been so much better off. I know that
yeah,
looking back and thinking, oh, that's what I could have done. Yeah,
mhm.
so I think it does help the parents as well.
Yeah, yeah. What is the age that you work with? Is it any age?
For the belly fights to
Y-
mentor,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's any age, and it just depends on like their uh, what they want out of me, like
Mm, mhm.
what they're expecting out of me.
Yeah.
But I'll work with anybody. I
Yeah.
I was working on Special Olympics, and they're all ages, but
Mhm.
they're all one age in my head. Like everybody
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like the same age in my head. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, okay, that's
yeah.
awesome. Because I'm a
Mhm.
child at heart. I don't know. I love to play, laugh, and just live
Yeah,
life. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
same way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what would you say that your son has taught you through you teaching him?
Oh, but I have two sons, and they're both taught me so much. One
Yeah.
taught me that you have imaginary boundaries. Don't don't listen to your imaginary boundaries. Just keep on forging ahead and
Mhm.
watch your
Yeah.
remember your why. The
Mhm.
other one taught me what neurodivergent was. He he's more sensitive to the needs of others,
Mm.
how I should speak and how I should teach and what
Mhm.
children that are neurodivergent need to know and what the parents need to know. So they're both huge influences in my life.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Um, can you tell us what is neurodivergent? Because I had another guest who talked about it, but let's say someone's watching this episode a later time and they don't know what it
Yes.
means.
It's when your brain processes things differently.
Mm.
It's not right or wrong. It's
Yeah.
just that there's different ways. So there's autism,
Mhm.
anxiety, depression. Uh,
Mhm.
there's so much involved in that. But
Yeah.
and I don't know if you feel this way as well, but I really don't know if there's a neurotypical. I
Mm.
think we all have a little bit of something, but
Yeah, yeah.
but it's more um acknowledged if it bothers your health,
Mhm.
your family, or your work. If it bothers any of these things, if it interferes in that, then it needs attention.
Mm.
Otherwise, we can kind of work with it. But yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I
Yeah.
think we all have a little something.
Well, I have a lot of something because I'm schizophrenic, anxiety, PTSD, and yeah, it all adds up.
It
And
does.
yeah, I find that it's hard sometimes to focus if the person is talking, 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 talking. Not in an interview sense, with lots of
Right.
noise around, like the senses get overwhelmed when a bunch of people are talking. I'm like, who do
Yes.
I focus to? Would you
Yeah.
say sometimes kids experience that if they're in a large family setting, everybody's talking, especially at birthday parties?
Yes, I definitely, before I knew about any of this, my son at his birthday party would go upstairs and go and play in his
Mm.
bedroom. And the kids are all there, the family's all there, and I didn't
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
And I would say, "Come on, you got to come downstairs, come down." He goes, I can't right now. I just can't."
Mhm,
So I didn't understand, but I let him stay there for a little while and then brought him downstairs after he
mhm.
reconnected. When he was ready to reconnect,
Yeah,
I should say, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
and I think children, I think that's part of the sensitive part is understand their sensitivity. Sometimes it's touch, sometimes it's sound, and there's a lot of different things that are unique. And they say
Yeah.
if you've met an autistic person,
Mhm,
one autistic person, you've met one autistic person because everybody's so different.
mhm,
And same with everything, you know,
mhm.
we're all completely different. I was just talking to my mom about this. The twins that we know are completely different,
Yeah,
and um they like all the parts of them are completely different, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
hard to yeah, so when you have two kids and even if they're both autistic or they both have some kind of neurodivergence, they're not the
Mhm.
same. They still have to be treated individually.
Yeah, 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 I'm told my son is autistic. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
diagnosed, but the school says so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
How
kinda
old
know
is
him
he?
pretty good. He is 7,
Ah,
7. Yeah, I know him pretty good. I think me and my kids, we get overwhelmed from being
mhm,
around too many people for too long. Loud, anything loud, we just get drained. So
right.
our house, yeah, we listen to music, you can hear us, but we're pretty low key people.
Mhm.
It's quiet,
Yeah.
and I give them their space, and they give me mine as well.
And that's the one of the biggest step is to know that
Mhm,
instead of reacting, because it maybe if you didn't have that,
mhm,
then you wouldn't understand what they were going through and you could have reacted poorly and
yeah,
um, had them react poorly too.
mhm,
So I think that's a huge benefit
yeah,
that you
yeah,
understand them and
Yeah.
guide them so they'll grow up knowing, okay, this is the kind of job I need to have. This is a kind of
Mhm.
spouse I need to have,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's really important. Mhm.
Also, they trust me to tell them what's going on, and I trust them to tell me what's going on because I think it's a two-way street.
Oh, yes.
Oftentimes, in my case growing up, just because the adult is the adult, they take complete control.
Yeah.
And what does that do to a child that grows up?
Right.
They want to control everything, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I parent them, but I give them enough space to breathe, enough freedom to make decisions.
Mhm.
Because, yeah, it can be a lot of pressure on kids.
Yeah, your kids are pretty lucky.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know that, well, how people are raised, it they take some of that with them, but on the other hand, they learn from that.
Mhm.
So,
Mm,
your children are gonna learn that, like, that I teach the trickle down effect. They're gonna learn from you, and then they're gonna treat their friends and their family and the
yeah,
same. They're
yeah.
gonna take the good and then pass it down.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
feel that that's how the world grows better, better vibrations.
Yeah, yeah, and I raised myself, so
Yeah, yeah,
I'm trying to teach them as well.
yeah,
I'd say we make jokes, you're a warrior, not a Barbie, and we just make different jokes and different things that we say,
yeah.
just to push them, to
That's
continue
right.
to motivate them, because I'm there, but it's like watching a baby learning to walk. They're gonna
Yeah,
fall, they're gonna cry, you pick them up and they go again, and
yeah.
eventually they get it. I think it's very similar.
Yeah, that's what I thought with my books, that they're read to the children when they're young a
Mhm.
lot, and they act it out or they make up stories in between the pages, that's what we always used to do with the kids.
Yeah.
Um, that that it'll just become natural
Mhm.
for them.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What are your thoughts on parenting styles? Because we all do it different. And kids don't come with manuals. I don't think there's a right or wrong way of doing things. But what are your thoughts within the line of work that you do?
I think I think the best thing is to put yourself into their world,
Mm, yeah.
um, and try to see it from their eyes,
Hmm.
because we get so busy sometimes that we're just looking up here and we don't see their little lives. When I was in high school and we had home economics in those days, we had to
Yeah.
go on our knees for the whole class and see from a child's point of view. And
Hmm.
I thought, wow, that's amazing, because you don't see, like, okay, I have to reach this doorknob and I can't reach it. What do I do now? I have nothing. I can't. What are you doing on that desk? I can't see above the desk, and just put yourself into their world so that you can identify what their nervousness or their fears or their joy, how they get joy from such a small thing. We should put
Yeah.
ourselves right in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. So you have 7 books. Are they
Yes.
a series or all of them have
Yes.
different topics?
They're all different, but they're a series. They have Yum Yum the alligator, who's a stuffed alligator
Yeah.
who is in every book. Yeah. And there's
Okay.
like the Bellyflies one, and then there's gonna build a boat, and that's dedicated to my dad after he passed because he built
Mm,
boats. And he included everybody. And so this book includes everybody. And
mhm,
I didn't know it at the time, but when I look back, I think he expected the best out of everybody, and people rose up to that.
mm. Yeah.
And I certainly did, when he expected me to do something, I'm thinking, no, can't do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, you just do. So,
Mhm,
and they're all geared towards love,
mhm,
um,
mhm.
and other things to help the child grow,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
healthy well-being. Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
How would you define love based on what you've experienced in your life?
Love is all connected.
Mhm,
It's huge.
mhm, yeah,
I was told at one point by a shaman speaker
Mhm.
that I should have the tattoo over my heart saying mother love.
Mm.
And he
Yeah.
said, mother love isn't a mother who loves her son. It's
Mhm.
the ultimate love of everything
Yeah.
and loving the connection we have with everything.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
if we push that out and feel it,
Yeah.
um, we can
Mm.
we can build it. We can build the love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
And
that. Yeah.
push the negative out. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about your spirituality. You mentioned shaman and other wonderful
Yeah.
words. What has your journey been like?
Oh, it's been a little bit of a struggle because my dad is was very scientific.
Mm.
And when I was just going into discovering energy and um
Mhm.
my mind kept on pulling in two different directions.
Mm.
So I have to really focus. And then when I talked to my dad about energy, he goes, well, yeah, of course, it's very scientific. I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What? I don't even understand it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I do Reiki and I really feel the
Mm.
energy flowing through me. And it was really odd because one day at work, my hands just started feeling tingly, really, really strong.
Wow.
And I called my friend. I said, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Mm.
Like, should I go to the hospital or what? And she said, and she said, go wash your hands in cold water and
Yeah.
shake the energy out. You need
Yeah.
to learn Reiki.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't know because it
Yeah.
was just so overwhelming. And then I discovered later on it was because a girl that sat in front of me was talking about her chest being sore
Oh,
and the
okay.
muscles in her chest. I didn't know, but it was like not a heart thing,
Yeah.
it was a muscle thing.
Yeah.
But when anybody started talking about that, my hands started tingling. And
Oh,
one
wow.
time I was at a quilt show and I
Mhm.
could see this lady and she just had a like the aura around her was very heavy
Mm.
and my hands were going crazy. And I walked up to her and I said, can I put my hands on you? And my mom goes, you can't say that.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
she said, oh, I have such a horrible headache. Can you? So
Mm.
I did.
Oh,
And it eased up. Yeah. And she was able to continue the show.
wow. Wow, that's awesome. So you're a healer.
Well, I'm a vessel, a vessel of healing energy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so cool. What else do you do when it comes to the spiritual world?
Um, well, I talk to the universe.
Hmm.
Give me the energy to do this or
Yeah.
um I feel that um focusing on like a meditation,
Hmm.
bringing the energy from the universe to through me and down to the middle of the earth and then back up again and it just like builds in my heart
Hmm.
chakra and it just glows and
Hmm.
I feel that when I do that I can uh find answers better for
Mm.
people or for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
that's awesome. Have you ever thought of writing a book with what you just shared? Maybe for kids or adults or some kind of teaching module or course?
I did start writing a book, called Can You See the Hawk? And it had
Oh.
all kinds of anecdotes in it, and then it got lost on the computer. That was awful. But I still
Yeah.
have those in my head, right? So
Mhm.
I will do that again. And I wrote Can You See the Hawk? Because I noticed that when I would bring, like, my, kids' friends out to the country
Mhm.
or just different people, they just didn't see the beauty. So
Mhm.
I so
Mhm.
I really wanted people to like see that hawk on the wire there
Yeah.
and yeah, feel his energy, you know. So yeah, that's on my list too. And I don't know about a children's book. That's very interesting. I
Mhm.
might look into that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because kids are very open. Mine are very open. They know of some of the psychic or stuff that I go through. They know and
Yeah,
energy, and I explain to them, what it means for me. It may be
right.
different for them, And yeah, I think that that would be
Mm,
really cool.
that
And
would be
also
something.
color therapy with emotions. Have you looked into that?
Well, when I teach about belly flies,
Mhm.
that's one of the things I say is, what color are your belly flies? Are they like a sparkly color, like um,
Mm,
but I don't know about color therapy, but I have used that in there, and it really brings out
mhm.
what's going on with them.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Because
yeah,
I think, you know how people have favorite colors.
yes.
I think that's their soul color, the color of their
Oh,
soul trying to express. And I find most kids, they're not as restricted in their ability to create. You
right.
just tell them, pick your favorite color, and they just grab it and they go for it. Whereas
Yeah, yeah.
adults, we're a bit more hesitant of making mistakes in what we're creating.
Yes. Oh, that's one thing I learned is don't let thinking about you making mistakes stop you from going forward. Just keep
Yeah.
going, going, going. And when when I first wrote my first book,
Hmm.
the sister of the fellow who took his life, she wanted me to read it to her class, and she was in grade 6.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is a little childish for your age. But I went
Mm.
there and I read it, and everyone was listening intently. And then they asked me to read it again and again and asked me such
Mm.
intelligent questions. And then I had some coloring papers for them to color. And then
Mhm.
they went out for recess. And then when I saw the pictures were all the same, but
Mhm.
every one was colored differently.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. Like every single one was different. And I thought that's really important to see,
Mhm.
what kind of personalities they have,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that they're all right. It's just different. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, different. Um, I know, you know, for most parents who have more than one kid, they're all different.
Oh, sure.
How can we listen to kids that are different from each other's siblings?
That's another thing, you have to get into their world. Like
Mm,
my
mm,
both sons are so different, but
mm.
and I treat them differently because they are different. And it's not that I love one more than the other.
Yeah,
It's just that
yeah,
this child needs this and this child needs that. And you have to accept that. That's
mm,
that's okay to
yeah,
do that.
yeah,
And and listen to between the lines,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like hear between the lines, um,
Mhm,
and don't compare them. That's a
mm,
huge thing that
yeah.
I found. People compared my two sons, and that would
Mhm.
really stunt them a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, that can be damaging actually. I mean,
Yes.
if they're joking around about it, but even then,
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
certain things I think kids pick up that we don't realize they pick up.
That's right. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, do you work with kids that are, I'm guessing, 8 up to 18?
I was working with a 20, well, when he finally got a job, he was 22, going on 23. Yeah. And
Oh,
he
okay.
was autistic, and he couldn't look me in the eye, and he,
Mm,
not that he couldn't, it's just that's how he was. And
mm.
he had a great imagination, and he wanted to get his imagination on paper. So we ended up writing 5 books together.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and then he got a job. So he developed a lot during this time, and he was looking at me in the eye, and he
Yeah,
hugged me, and that was all huge. But yes, that was
yeah, yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
because I know you're tapped into the spirit world. I think some of the labels that are put on, you know, people with mental health,
Right.
autism, that's just I think they tap into a different frequency.
I agree. I'm
Mm.
I'm like tingly when I'm with people with autism, or I know that's weird,
Yeah.
and not tingly in a I want to heal them way, not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
It's like I'm getting their vibrations. I'm
Mhm.
I'm learning, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm growing, and I'm expanding with
Yeah.
their vibrations. That's how I feel.
Yeah, yeah, because we don't normally understand what we don't understand.
Right.
We
Yeah.
see it as they're weird or whatever label people call, kids who are
Yeah.
accessing information through different possibly dimensional
Yeah.
frequencies. Yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. I
Yeah,
find
that's
I find
amazing.
I find kids fascinating.
Yeah, I do. I really, all my life, I've picked out certain characteristics of every single person that are unique and
Yeah.
then I love about them. So even
Mhm.
if that person has been negative towards me or something, there's something about them that I just love about them, you know? And I've taken
Yeah.
that into my adulthood that
Mhm.
there's always something to love about a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I should say in my opinion, because I
Mhm.
haven't met anybody that is out of that
Yeah.
range, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but I
Mm.
think that children, oh, they just they're just like flowers or something. I don't know, I can't even
Yeah.
explain my feeling towards children. I just,
Mhm. Mhm.
know that they're the whole world, and I think that the vibration that we're going into now is, um, not just for them, but because of them.
Yeah.
'Cause the
Yeah.
children in this world now.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um, would you say that there's enough resources for the kids that you're helping?
No, that's why I worked on this.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
easy answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't have, and the parents I find that they're too, um, in it to actually be able to, read a book, and
Mhm.
then do the work, and sometimes they just need a helping hand,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
go through it, something easy that they could just work with.
Yeah.
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 We do get buried in our stuff, don't we?
Too buried.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we do. And I also think technology doesn't always help.
No, I agree. I put my books on, YouTube so
Mhm.
that the kids could watch them and look at them and read with them,
Yeah.
but I think that there's so much technology out there, like, way beyond what
Mhm.
I had ever known when I was a child. They just know everything. There's nothing that they can't know, right?
Yeah, 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 because
Yeah,
they absorb all the information, sometimes
they
the good
do.
and the bad, and they don't know how
Yes.
to process and release and let go of the bad.
That's right, and that's why I made the Bellyflies book so young, is that's when they're absorbing everything.
Yeah.
I feel that they could get a good head start with,
Mhm, mhm,
yeah,
yeah,
with the knowledge, with, just with tips, you know.
mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I agree. In your opinion, do you think that kids who are special should be treated like everybody else, whether it's at school, at home, in family circles, communities?
I
Because,
think
yeah, go ahead.
I think that, um, if you go into their world and they have these, gifts that you'll see that, like a normal classroom might not be beneficial to them,
Yeah.
because they'll be different or maybe
Mhm.
outcasted, or I'm not sure about that, but I do kind of think that if I would have put one of my sons in a private school, he would have really liked that,
Mm.
like learning at your own pace.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
I think that people should be acknowledged for their gifts
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
or f- for their differences. Be acknowledged for their differences.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I sort of asked based on my own experience because my son has a bit of a speech delay. I
Mm.
understand him, whereas a stranger may be like, "What?" Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe in a regular classroom it would be okay, but with an EA,
Mhm.
just to encourage them, because I think in both my kids' classes, um, there was all different kinds of people in there. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, really different. I mean, my
Yeah.
kids included,
Mhm.
and they're all still friends. So, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know that answer. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 it does. Yeah. And I think continuous education as well,
Oh,
on
yes.
behalf of parents to teach their kids that, hey, just because you're not like so and so doesn't mean they're not worthy of being accepted or loved, or
Exactly.
doesn't mean you don't play with them, right? And I
Right.
teach that to my kids to accept people
Yeah.
for who they are, what they are, and why they are, because that's their journey. We
Yeah.
may cross paths with people, but we're not on the same journey or path as them. They have a
That's
different
right.
destination.
Wow, that's
Mm.
good. Yeah. In
Yeah.
in my book, I'm gonna build a boat. There's a little boy who's in a wheelchair, and Billy, the one of the main characters, he just said, "Hey, well, come build a boat with us." Not thinking that, oh, you're in a wheelchair, you don't know how, you won't know, you won't like it. No, just come on. And sure enough, he went along and he helped build the boat.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you took us to the next topic, which is, kids with disabilities.
Hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
kids. Oh, I have a story for you too. We're in, and this is in another book that I'm writing. I just have to do the illustrations for it.
Mhm,
But there is this little girl with I was with my mom and my sons,
mhm,
and she was had two crutches,
mm.
and she was going down the aisle as fast as she could singing.
Yeah.
And so my kids went, "Oh my God, she's so happy, Mom." And I thought,
Yeah.
wow, isn't that interesting? They didn't notice that she had two crutches
Mhm.
and no legs. They just noticed how happy she was.
Yeah.
So I put that in my book. I thought that was really important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. So how do you create your illustrations? Do you paint, draw? What do you do?
I well, my brother did the first book, and then
Okay.
he got too busy in his business and I couldn't get him to do the other books.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had to learn how to draw and learn how to draw on the computer.
Yeah.
So I did that because it's easier to erase mistakes on the computer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's what I did for the rest of my books. I did the illustrations myself on the computer.
Oh, wow,
Mm.
that's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on before we wrap up the
Um,
episode?
well, I'd like to tell everybody that no matter what situation you're in,
Mhm.
you're not alone. Really, you're not alone. Um,
Yeah.
if if you want to chat, you can
Mhm.
email me at Cathy at bellyfliesmethod.com. We could talk if there's any way that I could help you through anything.
Mhm.
Uh, and if you want to go to bellyfliesmethod.com to see my landing page, put in your email address,
Yeah.
and we can connect that way. I think it's really important to know that everybody has something,
Mhm.
and it may not be exactly what you're going through, but they can relate. We can all help each other.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that there's too many people out there saying nobody will understand me. I don't want to bother anybody.
Mm.
And they suffer in silence, and
Yeah.
it's not healthy for them. It's not healthy for their children either,
Yeah, I
or their
agree.
relationship or their work or anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And I think help is
Yeah.
always available if we can find the courage to ask for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I have two questions for you. I think you answered the
Sure.
second one, which was, where can people find you? I think you mentioned your website, right?
It's just a landing page right now. I don't have the full
Oh, okay.
website up yet,
Okay.
but it's bellyfliesmethod.com. Mhm.
Okay. 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 Last question for you as we wrap up,
Yep.
which I ask all my guests. What is the meaning of life for you?
Um, Glowing and spreading your energy, your positive
Hmm.
energy out to the world.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it always will benefit you if you benefit the
Mm.
other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Uh, places and things and animals and trees and the mountains. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
I think it's just beam out and shine your shine.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for
Thank
coming on the
you.
podcast. Keep shining. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.